So today we are going to be talking about the effects of World War I, which was ended by the Treaty of Versailles. Now, it was after World War I, they had this thing called BRAT. B was to blame Germany, R was to make the reparations paid by Germany, and A was to make the army in Germany dismantled, and T was the territories gained by Germany given back. Now, Woodrow Wilson made 14 points. Some of the main points are economic free trade on the seas during war and peace, the decreased armament among all nations, Austria-Hungary to be provided an opportunity for self-determination, and the creation of the League of Nations. Now we're going to be talking about the roaring 1920s. Now, the 1920s were a decade of prosperity. The reason why was the invention of the automobile. Henry Ford developed the assembly line, which are the parts that can be made faster and can be made faster and can be made by unskilled workers. Next, we have the development of new industries. Oh yeah, also I just want to say this was an automobile from the 1920s. Next, we have some new industries, the development of it. The widespread use of electricity allows for money, new industries, jobs, and profit. Here are some industries made in 1920.67. Next, we have a more efficient technique. New techniques and industry production, such as the assembly line, allows industry to be more effective with efficient production techniques and people having a lot of money. It led to mass consumption and the large purchasing of goods. Efficient technique is the foundation of success in almost every field. If from academics and sport businesses to everyday lives. Now, the United States does return to isolation as their president and governments wanted to return to normalcy, which was isolation, staying out of foreign wars. And next, there were three Republican presidents during the 1920s. First, we have President Warren Harding. Warren wanted to go back to normalcy, like I just said, as he wanted America to run a government less involved in business and foreign affairs. But he gets involved in the Teapot Dome scandal, where he takes bribes from businessmen, which was money in exchange for government oil fields. Now, next is President Calvin Coolidge. During his presidency, he agreed among nations to outlaw war except in self-defense, and nations agreed to settle disputes through peaceful means. Next, we have President Herbert Hoover. Now, he promised to end the poverty and unequal distribution of wealth in the United States, but he was president during the stock market crash in October 1929. Some economic changes during the 1920s. Now, everyone experienced an economic boom except farmers, Native Americans, and African Americans. Now, the reason why is that the farmers cannot afford all of the luxury consumer goods and technologies, and the reason why Native Americans couldn't was because most lives on reservations and have few luxury goods. And now the reason why African Americans couldn't, because they face discrimination as segregation is still illegal. Now, some social changes were made after World War I, like the 18th Amendment passed in 1919 made the sale and consumption of alcohol illegal. Next, the lives of women changed as in 1920, the 19th Amendment gave women the rights to vote. And there were some threats to civil liberties. Americans were divided between modern and traditional beliefs. This resulted in the Red Scare and the KKK, which caused many deaths. Next, we have some immigration laws. The National Origins Act and Emergency Act limited the number of immigrants in the United States. Next, we have the Harlem Renaissance, which was a rebirth in African American culture and pride beginning in Harlem, New York. And some new new technologies like cars, radios, washing machines, stoves, vacuum cleaners skyrocketed, which was mostly made by this guy right here. And there was sports were booming after the 1920s and during, like tennis, boxing, college football, and baseball became very popular during this era. Now, next, we're going to talk about the Great Depression, which, just like how I said, like how they had a stock market crash. Now, back to President Hoover. President Hoover was the president during the stock market crash, which lasted from 1929 to 1945. And he made Hoovervilles that were homes for people that were poor. Now, President Hoover believed it wasn't the government's fault and it wouldn't last very long, and blamed economic interventional problems even though it caused a social and economic drought. Now we're going to talk about the Dust Bowl, the Dust Bowl happened because there was nothing to keep dry soil in place, which led to massive storms picking up the soil and misplacing the soil. The effects of the Dust Bowl had on the people is that it caused the Dust Bowl seeped into homes, suffocated some livestock, and caused many people to develop lung problems. This happened because it was unexpected and dust and soil flew everywhere, causing dust to get into homes, suffer livestock, and the flying dust got into some people having lung problems. More effects is that it had on farmers is that many of them gave up abandoning their land and others lost their land to banks. With the crazy soil everywhere, it would have been hard for farmers to restore their farmland and grow their crops back. That made it hard for farmers to make money, so they couldn't pay for their loans, causing the banks to take their land. Now, 1936 is the centennial of Texas independence, which means the 100-year anniversary of Texas independence. Now, they celebrated this by making a year-long celebration, even though there was a Great Depression going on, and many of them were poor. This did not let them stop them. Next, we have President Roosevelt, and how he dealt with the Great Depression was he started extending federal spending and provided jobs for more people, which was basically the opposite of President Hoover. Now, there was many like social government companies like the AAA who hired people who owned larger farms and made people practice the management of crops. They also hired farmers or paid farmers not to grow crops. Now, some farmers from the 1920s, they stated that from getting our farmland completely wiped out to getting light when they need it the most, the TVP, aka the Tennessee Valley Authority, helps hydroelectrical power and helped their family along with thousands of others. The TVP helped them get more hope in their life and helped them get guided in their life. After the Dust Bowl, everything was destroyed. Their farmland, crops, almost everything they owned. And their veil, they could finally see when it starts to get dark, and I wouldn't and okay, sorry about that. So yeah, as I was saying, no, sorry, my mic cut off. So yeah, after the Dust Bowl, everything was destroyed. their farmland crops, almost everything they owned. And once the TVP provided electrical power to their Hooverville, which I said President Hoover provided bills, they could finally see when it started to get dark and they wouldn't have to get help on almost everything on their life. So yeah, that would be it for today. Subscribe to my channel, my challenge channel, my music channel, my educational channel for kids, my streamer channel, my soccer channel, my company channel. And yeah, that's basically for all my channels, not that much. And my friend's channel. And shout out to these legends for helping make the video. Goodbye.